The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
What's up, everyone? It's Daniel Smooth here. I wanted to show you guys a cool thing we're doing. This podcast is sponsored by Canada Dips, the newest lineup to the dip game, but in CBD form. The Canada Dips lineup features products made for every man's lifestyle. All 10s are proudly crafted from the hills of Humboldt County in California. It's filled with flavor and will give you that good vibe that CBD brings to the room. So what are you waiting for? Use the promo code BELLYUP20 in all caps at CanadaDips.com for 20% off your next order. That's BELLYUP20 at CanadaDips.com.
It's time to BS.
Jared, you look tired, bro.
It's been a long day. I've been up since about 4:15 this morning, and I am running on gasoline fumes. I'm running on a double espresso, two double espressos, one at 7 a.m., one at 3 p.m.
Then I greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this, man.
Listen, man, it's easy. I honestly, if I could podcast every day, every hour for the rest of my life, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So.
I don't blame you, bro. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Sports Cave. If you are diehard fans of this program, then you know that for 43 episodes, very early on in my podcasting journey, that was the name of my show. And as usual, we're coming to you from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York. How this works is I ask the guest of this program a question or several, and we debate on an answer to solve said question. So, without further ado, joining me, a very tired member of the Belly Up Brigade and the host of the Korner Booth podcast, Mr. Jared Klim himself.
Mr. Dan, how we doing, brother? Listen, I am tired, but I'm actually happy to come on the show. When you're doing something you love and enjoy, it's a lot easier to do it even when you're exhausted. So that's kind of why I like doing podcasts at night. It just makes it a lot easier on me.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that, bro. So I got some questions for you, and we'll run by them. You know what I mean? So for starters, with the Chargers currently losing 21-0 as we're recording to the Raiders.
Me forgetting to place my bet, realizing it just. I think I had Raiders like plus 24 because I was like, you know what, screw it.
If and when Brandon Staley gets fired, who else could we see join him on the unemployment line?
Oh, who's joining him? All right, so I'll go through a list. Unfortunately, Frank Reich was screwed because the new Washington Commanders are the Carolina Panthers. Well, speaking of the Washington Commanders, I think Riverboat Ron will be joining him. I think the problem is new ownership never wants to keep a coach. That's generally the rule of thumb. Another one I could see happening is I think Jonathan Gannon's safe for a year. Because honestly, ever since they got Keller back, they're a little better. This one's tough. Dable's seat was getting hot, but now Tommy DeVito's kind of saving his ass.
The Italians are proud.
Listen, he's from my mom's hometown, man.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah, Cedar Grove, New Jersey. Shout out. Try to think right now. You asked me this question like a month ago. It's a completely different answer. That's what makes the NFL so insane. Because they already fired Josh McDoofus. They already fired They already fired Frank Reich, so there was like the two layup answers. Riverboat Ron's gone. I think Eberflus gets one more year. I think if they let him draft a quarterback, he's safe. I think it's hard to get rid of him with how that team is so weird. I don't know how to.
The Bears are weird.
They shouldn't be as bad as they are. I think the worst part about them as a program is that they just. I think Justin Fields needs to go to a place like New England where he's going to just thrive under, or like in this case, not New England, because New England is one of the places I think is going to lose the coach. I think Bill Belichick's there. Tommy Curran brought it up. I'm buying that rumor, by the way. Yeah. Generally, when it comes to the Patriots, if it comes out, it may be premature, but it's usually true.
Yeah.
Because usually not much gets out with I think Belichick wants out too. I think Belichick wants to go somewhere. I think he's taking Staley's job. I think Belichick to the Chargers is what I think happens. I think the AFC West is going to be weird next year because I think Antonio Pierce keeps his job because I think he'll win probably one or two more of his last couple games. And I think the culture in that building is going to be just different. And I also believe that if the culture is strong enough, I don't think Mark Davis makes the same mistake twice.
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you either, brother. Should the Seahawks decide to clean house, despite the team not being too far out of serious playoff contention?
Here's the problem with the Seahawks this year. You have the best team in football in your division. You also have the second best team in football coming to your house on Monday. You have the third best team in football you lost to by literally a field goal on probably the best Thursday night football game I've watched in a while. You have a quarterback who honestly is kind of the heart and soul of your team right now. He may not be like the sexiest pick, but Geno Smith, I think, is the soul of your team. Your guys' biggest problem is you need an edge rusher. You guys can't rush the quarterback for shit.
No, we can, but the problem is
it's not. But you guys look like it's average. You guys look
consistent. I agree.
It's the New York Giants. You guys are basically you have a couple guys with talent, but you guys can't get after anybody. It's not like Dallas or Philly or Washington or San Fran where I'm like, all right, I need a guy to get a sack on fourth down, force a fourth down. Let's go. Philly pre the last 4 games. I think the biggest problem you guys experience is the fact that you guys have a lot of good pieces. You need to build off of what you did. I think the biggest thing you guys need to focus on next year is go O-line and edge rush. That is all you focus on. You have great young corners. You have great safeties, not counting Mr. President Mao. I think you need to move.
Can I interfere?
Just move him to linebacker,
that's what I was
and then
say,
move him down to like a striker back, kind of like a Miami. The Miami Hurricanes have been doing this for years. It's the weirdest defense, but it's like a 4-2 with a striker linebacker, like a third safety who plays down in the box. That's the perfect position for Jamal Adams. Go get another guy. Get a guy who just literally covers center field. You don't even have to make him good. Just go get like a guy like, even if you want to trade him, go get a guy like Cam Kitchens out of my boys out of Miami. Yeah. Just a guy who can kind of cover across the middle with Quandre Diggs. Because I think Seattle, honestly, their biggest problem is they can't protect their quarterback and they can't rush their quarterback. But besides that, they have everything else in the team you need to win a championship. I also think second or third round, you spend the pick on a replacement for Geno. I think Geno for a year or two more is a great idea.
Yeah.
But a third or fourth round pick on a guy like I don't know. It's gonna be. I can't really pick a quarterback yet because obviously we don't really do our draft selections. I think the combine is where we start actually kind of understanding.
Yeah.
But drafting a quarterback to replace Geno eventually, I think that's the thing. I think Geno, you guys gave him the contract. When he's on, he's on. Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, great 1-2 punch. And my boy, TJ Dallas.
And they got a third guy, Kenny McIntosh from Georgia, who can run.
They have 4 great running backs, and that's what's crazy. Pete pulls them out of his ass. I don't know where. Like it's like Pete finds 3 things: great hair gel, bubble gum, and running backs. I don't know where the hell he finds it all, but Pete Carroll has been finding it for years.
And DBs.
But
too.
yeah,
Don't forget the DBs.
Do not tear down the Seahawks what they have. I think the biggest problem is, unfortunately, they just did not learn in the NFL, in the modern NFL, you build your team off 3 pillars. O-line, D-line, quarterback. You got the quarterback, but your O-line and D-line are okay at best. That's the problem. Honestly, I think they should have taken Carter at 6, but you guys let us take him, so whoops. But Witherspoon is honestly going to be a top 10 corner next year. But the problem is you guys didn't assess the cornerback. I think you guys honestly could have kind of wasted a pick on JSN. I think you guys could easily have grabbed a guy like Jalen Reed in the second round and gone and grabbed a edge rusher like my boy Marcus Murphy and just said, hey, or Miles Murphy, and just said, hey, listen, we want to help our edge rush out. But, listen, that's the thing. It's hindsight 2020. I think the Seahawks are a good team. I think they're just like they're the definition of two pieces away.
Who is the more fraudulent team? Your Eagles or San Francisco?
Neither team is fraudulent. The problem is both teams are great rosters built from the ground up. The problem is that Philadelphia's team had to play 4 games in 21 days. Absolutely fucking brutal. And all 4 of them were against Super Bowl contender teams.
Yeah.
Never had a stretch like that I've seen in modern day with history. The fact that the Eagles went 2-2 is actually pretty impressive. That being said, no excuses, obviously, and they were in position to beat Dallas. You take away those turnovers, and you take away 1 or 2 bad calls by the refs, and the Eagles win that game by a touchdown or 2. But, then again, that's like saying, oh, coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? The 49ers are clicking on all cylinders. Brock Purdy's looking like an MVP candidate, and you have Debo, Christian McCaffrey, and Ayuk looking like all pros. So neither team is a fraud. I think Philadelphia's biggest problem is they're out of gas and they need a breather. I think the fact that we're playing your Seahawks on the NFL did us a favor by putting the game on Monday, giving the Eagles an extra day of rest, which I think honestly for you guys kind of fucks you guys over. We don't have to play till Christmas Day.
That'd be a good game. The
following week, you guys I think have to play Saturday on a 4-day rest.
Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah, Tennessee on Christmas Eve, or no, the day before Christmas Eve. We play on Monday, back-to-back Mondays. So that was the problem. And I think neither team is a fraud. I think if you ask me today, I have 6 teams to take to make a combination, and that's the 6 teams I get. If I don't get the combination right, I'm over. The 6 teams I'm picking is Philly, San Fran, Dallas, Baltimore, KC, and Miami. Those are the 6 teams I'm picking. It's been that way since October. I think the problem with November, December football is we get a little too wrapped up in what is and what looks like. The Eagles looked like a shot fighter the last 2 weeks, but what they are is a team that's been to the Super Bowl, a team that's got the same core, but they're also a team that's adding new weapons and trying to get their footing.
Okay.
And I think that's the difference. San Francisco, they are and is. They are the same as what you see on paper. So I think the problem is that question is there's not really a answer to it. I think if you ask me, are the Detroit Lions or the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Falcons, I'd say, yeah, they are. Or the Jacksonville Jaguars are frauds. They are fraudulent. I think the Jags won't even win their division.
Tommy DeVito, is he worth the hype? And could he be the next starting quarterback for the Giants in 2024?
Maybe and yes. I don't know if he's worth the hype yet. He hasn't played a good team yet. I want to see him play Philadelphia in 2 weeks on Christmas Day. Let's see him take on Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, Jalen Carter, and Zach Cunningham and Darius Leonard and Darius Slay, literally an all-star roster of guys, right? And let's see him play a rested Eagles team.
Yeah.
Also, I believe this week they take on the Saints, right?
I believe
and
so, yeah.
The Saints are literally the definition of shooting themselves in the foot as a franchise. They literally would be the definition of mediocrity if it wasn't for one run with Drew Brees. If Nick Saban makes the right call, the Saints are the Cleveland Browns of the South.
Yeah.
But my disrespect and hatred of the Saints aside, I love the city, New Orleans, which is why it's hilarious. Been there a lot. I love New Orleans. It's a beautiful city, gorgeous, fun nightlife. I think the Giants might win this week. I think they have a good shot. The problem is they run into a buzzsaw the next 3 weeks after that, and this is what's going to kill them. They play Eagles in Philly on Christmas Eve, on Christmas Day. Then they play LA, who is fighting for a playoff spot. And then they play Philly again. So, I mean, listen, I'm all for Tommy Cutlets, man. I'm all for the guinea from New Jersey. But here's the thing, or I'm sorry, the Guido from New Jersey. I used the correct.
There we go.
Listen, I'm a quarter Italian. All right. My mother is from Cedar Grove. My mother is half Italian from Cedar Grove, New Jersey. You want to check my files? It's all there.
I got my grandparents are from Brooklyn. I hear you.
The guinea is the old word. It's
yeah,
guinea's the old word. It's a Guido. But listen,
good.
the Paisans. Listen, you want to check the Paisan from Cedar Grove? I'm with it. Okay, listen, I'm not. I despise the New York Giants. Anybody knows me knows that. But here's the thing: their run has been fun to watch. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and next year, this is the big kicker, right? They brought this up in my first take, and I thought this was intriguing. Is dude, he's got the Giants playing hard for him. These same guys who are giving up on plays, not running hard. For the most overhyped draft pick the Giants have had in years in Daniel Jones. $40 million down the tube. Right out. So I think it's hilarious that, the Giants now find themselves with a backup. But I urge the Giants to do this. Host an open competition, draft a quarterback, put all three of them in the ring, battle royale style, and then go to town next year in camp. Because here's the problem, Dan, you know this is what I do. Talent wins in the end.
Yep.
And Daniel Jones has a lot of talent. Okay, he's a good deep ball thrower. He's very mobile. Tommy DeVito may be a decent quarterback, but he's not. He also might be on a insanity run where he becomes like just a gimmick for the next 5 years. We don't know.
You never know.
And they also might get a shot getting a guy like Penix in the 10s or 11s or Bo Nix in the second round. And Bo Nix could end up being the truth. We don't know this shit. Look at Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts was a second round pick, was a gadget player that came in because Wentz was terrible. Now he's an MVP candidate.
Amazing
you don't know what's good. Dak Prescott, third round pick, beats out Tony Romo in camp.
It was a fourth round pick, I believe.
Fourth round pick, beats out Tony Romo in camp.
Which contracts will end up being worse for their respected sport? Shohei Ohtani's 10-year deal with the Dodgers or the entirety of future quarterback contracts?
Shohei Ohtani.
Why?
But it's funny. As a Diamondbacks fan, it ticks me off a little bit because they all this just to lose to us again in the playoffs. But my biggest thing about Ohtani's contract is that it kind of exposes the Dodgers long term. So there's been always rumblings about salary caps in the MLB. We're talking, Dan, when you and me are in our late 30s, and they're talking about, hey, we're talking salary cap, and the Dodgers sitting down the barrel looking at 10 years down the road where they're like, we owe this guy $68 million. And yeah, that might only be an 18th of their freaking salary cap. But now you can't pay a starting pitcher. Now you can't pay an outfielder because you're paying some guy who's been off the roster for 5 years.
See, that's to cut you off, but in a good way. That's my argument with the small market teams. That a salary cap would benefit the small market teams like Arizona, like Seattle.
We're mid market, but I see your point.
No, but like Miami, the Marlins have been terrible for 30 years plus. Aside from the 2 World Series rings,
yes,
they're a small market. Tampa, small market. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. I think Kansas City won a World Series nearly 10 years ago, and they're been in the dumpster fires since then.
They are literally two hot runs in 2014 and 2017. 2014, 2015, where they literally ran into the buzzsaw that was Madison Bumgarner pre-rodeo discovery, and then they got the Mets, which was just a guaranteed World Series right there.
Yeah.
Come on, Mets in the playoffs.
But you see my point though. I think a salary cap would help.
Oh no, it would benefit eventually long term, especially if teams like the Yankees and Dodgers and Padres continue to overpay for players and outmuscle teams. Teams like the Diamondbacks and Rays are the reason why there's no salary cap because it seemed like the Diamondbacks, who finds a value pickup in Christian Walker out of the minor leagues, who the Orioles cut, then grabs a guy like Ryan Thompson from the Rays, who was designated for assignment but becomes one of the best setup men in the league.
And Seawald, too. Seawald from the Mariners.
Seawald's another one who's like a bargain bin closer. And then you look at the World Series champion Texas Rangers. Yeah, they paid for a lot of guys, but a lot of their best players were draft picks.
Were developed.
Yeah, okay, Corey Seager was amazing, but Adolis Garcia was a bargain bin piece that they picked out of nowhere. Freaking Josh Young, draft pick. A lot of these guys were minor league guys. Like, it's not like they're big name players. This is why, like, the Dodgers, like Tyler Glasnow, I'm like, yawn. It's like, congratulations. You grabbed another guy who's going to give up 4 home runs to the Diamondbacks in the playoffs. It's like, or to the Braves or the Phillies. I commented this on my boys over Just Baseball. I literally said in the comments, I'm like, listen, all this just to lose to Philly, Arizona, or Atlanta in the playoffs. Because it's a culture thing. It's not, you can't pay for players and win games. MLB has proved that for decades.
Look at the Yankees.
Yeah, the Yankees should have 1,000 rings by how they play. Red Sox should have a couple. Cubs. The Cubs, except for 2016.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mind, it took 100 years
who's
the Cubs to sniff a World Series.
Who's been the reigning dynasty basically since 2016 to now? Astros.
Yeah.
Astros. 2 World Series titles, 4 World Series appearances. They've been the most consistent team.
Yeah.
How did they win?
They develop guys.
Exactly. They set the blueprint.
Yeah.
Arizona's doing the same thing they were. So is Tampa. So is Atlanta. They're following who?
The Mariners for a bit before
Mariners.
They decided to blow it up.
The Mariners are kind of dropping the ball a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to your point, they're following the Rangers blueprint. I mean, not the Rangers, the Astros blueprint. Even the Rangers, with a lot of young guys up, they just went and they kind of accelerated the process and went and got a couple arms, right? But this is why the Yankees and Dodgers, Red Sox, Padres, they don't win. Because when it comes down to it, they have no team chemistry. You can't. Baseball's not a plug-and-play sport. And especially with the new rules now, it doesn't matter how many home runs you hit, because I could have Corbin Carroll and Jake McCarthy, who, I mean, Corbin's got some power, but Jake doesn't. And then Alec Thomas, 3 of the fastest dudes in baseball. I get them all up 1, 2, 3. Half of them draw walks. The other one bunts on for a single. Oh, look, Christian Walker hits a ball into the gap. Oh, look, it's 3-3 after you just had Ohtani, a 3-run blast. We can do this all day, and we don't have to swing for the fences for it. Yeah. And I think this is what makes the new rules of baseball level the playing field. If this Ohtani signing and this Glasnow signing happened 2 years ago, Dan, it's a fucking wrap. Dodgers, World Series champs. The new baseball rules open the floodgates. Now, it doesn't matter. Look at the Yankees. They missed the freaking playoffs, and they have one of the most powerful lineups. I can't tell if you're a Mariners fan or a Yankees fan right now, or a Mets fan.
I am a Yankee fan, but I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up a Yankee fan, but I listen to a lot of Seattle sports radio thanks to
your Seahawks.
Podcasting. Yes, and they talk about the Mariners. I feel like, let's see what they're doing. I'm like, they're entertaining as hell.
Well, also J-Rod is so much fun to watch.
Oh, that kid is awesome. And Jared Kelenic, before they decided to trade him away in a salary.
Dude, besides the fact, by the way, it's 28. It's 28 nothing Raiders.
How is Brandon Staley? He should not even be able.
Oh no, are you kidding me? He's got. Well, I think he got like a 1-game grace because of Justin Herbert. But yeah, no. We just had a Michael Meyer touchdown from Aiden O'Connell. O'Connell right now is 9 for 17 for $134 and 3 touchdowns.
Does Aiden O'Connell look like Super Troopers?
Yes, he looks like Farva from Super Troopers. He looks like Farva on Weight Watchers.
He does.
Oh my God! I now have my nickname for Aiden O'Connell in the corner booth. Thank you, Dan. I'll shout you out for this one. Is Weight Watchers Farva? So I did not get that noise, but I will take it. It's all good.
It's the Old Spice whistle.
No,
You'll hear it when I post it.
I'll hear. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to listen to this one because obviously, my colorful blue collar language. You, as a fellow man of the blue collar persuasion, gets it. Yeah, no. The Ohtani contract's worse because for the next couple of years, it's going to make teams want to overpay for players. But when the salary cap comes up in about 5-10 years, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
It's going to screw LA, and everyone's going to be like, oh.
I think it's going to come sooner. I think it's going to come a lot sooner than you think.
I don't think – well, if it comes sooner, then the Dodgers have to figure out some creative accounting. They go full New Orleans Saints and start paying guys that don't actually exist to try to get tax write-off. I don't know. It's just – it's going to be a lot of stuff. So, yeah. But sorry, I ranted about that one for about 20 minutes. But
you're good, bro. That's good, man. That's why we're here. So, I want to get back to a previous thing that you said, that you would not punt on Pete Carroll being let go.
He proved. Listen, I've loved Pete Carroll since his USC days with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart. One thing I like about Pete Carroll is one of those few old school coaches who's a calming presence but is willing to reinvent his team. And I think the biggest thing is right now we're going through a weird change in the NFL. And the Niners, the Eagles, the Cowboys are all kind of leading this way. You need to be able to run the football. And the Seahawks under Pete Carroll have been a constant in running the football since the days before Marshawn Lynch. That being the post-John Mora days to the very early days of Pete Carroll when they went and traded him from Buffalo. Here's the kicker.
Jim Mora, by the way.
Yeah, Jim Mora, I know.
The 5'11" team, Jesus.
Current head football coach up here at the University of Connecticut.
Hey-o.
Actually, a pretty good coach for us. That being said, the NFL is starting to swing back to running the football. I see it already. I see it happening as offensive linemen have less time to train as pass protectors. Dan, I don't know if you played offensive line in high school like I did. It is a lot easier to run block than it is to pass block.
I did.
Pass blocking is an art of balance, technique, and perseverance, where run blocking is you see ball, hit ball, you run, you go. Run blocking is very elementary.
Yeah.
And as offensive linemen get less and less trained with these new CBA rules that have been in place for almost a decade now, running the football has come back because it's effective. It controls the clock. It keeps these elite quarterbacks off the field.
They have a good line, too. It's not like they have a terrible line.
Yeah. Well, the Seahawks' line for run blocking is incredible. Pass blocking, sketchy. But
yeah, I agree with you at that. Like, Abe Lucas is their best pass blocking O-line by far, and he was out for 9 weeks with a knee injury.
You realize we're talking about, like, you're trying to get to relate to me. My team has literally the gold standard of offensive lines, but
yeah, you lost Jason Pierce to an ACL tear in 2017, and you got better.
Yeah, here's the crazy thing, right? So we have 2 future Hall of Famers in our O-line right now, and 4 Pro Bowlers. But here's the kicker: that comes down to coaching. Yeah, and this is something that's the only reason. Like, and so I think the biggest thing to go to your question. I believe in Pete Carroll for now until he gives me a reason not to. This year, you guys just got hosed. Between schedule and injuries, you guys were basically just thrown through the meat grinder, and the fact of the matter is you still might make the playoffs.
Amazingly.
I don't know how you're going to do this weekend, but who are your final 3 games? I believe it's
So it's Philadelphia, you guys, then it's Tennessee, then home against Pittsburgh, and then at Arizona to close out the year.
You easily could run the year 3-1. You lose to Philly, then finish the year on a 3-game win streak. I could easily see that happening.
They could win a playoff game or 2 easily.
Yeah, and the thing is, you catch Dallas at home. You catch Dallas. You catch Detroit.
Game on.
Yeah, game on, right?
Game on.
Or you catch Tampa Bay, win.
Or we catch Mr. Playoff choke Kyle Shanahan.
Oh, listen, you guys. I honestly no. I want him to make it. I want my pound of flesh, so I want him to make it to playoffs.
You gave me confidence, man. You gave me confidence. I like this shit.
I want my pound of flesh. What they did to us was brutal. I mean, we earned it, but the fact they've been staring at our logo for the past 8 months. But yeah, no, that's honestly how I feel about it. It's with the Seahawks. you guys are one of those few teams that's got a losing record where I wouldn't panic. Like the Bills. The biggest problem is this run they're on. The best way to improve this team is to get rid of Sean McDoofus and keep Josh Allen, obviously. Get rid of Diggs. Keep James Cook. Get rid of Gabe Davis's ridiculous contract. And then just start trying to retool. Like, go get mercenaries. Go get guys who are going to take a 1-year deal. Go get a guy like Julio Jones to play the slot receiver. Go get a guy like... go get Marquise Brown. Go get guys who are willing to just run deep, run under routes, get offensive linemen, and just build around James Cook, David Montgomery, and Mr. Allen. And on defense, dude, fire your training staff. Because I swear to God, every cornerback who's ever played for the Bills misses at least 5 to 6 games a year. It makes no sense.
Or tears their ACL. Oh
my God! Well, I blame MetLife Stadium for half of those, but the literally giant recycling bin that they have out in the Meadowlands.
Yeah.
That being said, your Bills are your Seahawks are fine, buddy. It's good. It's a down year, but the biggest thing you can do is retool and reload. This is not a time to panic and blow up where most teams would.
I hear you.
This is a take your lumps year.
Okay, I hear you with that. Jared, my friend, greatly appreciate you taking the time out of your tired-ass day to join the cave.
No problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Daniel Smooth. I'm coming to you from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York. Go listen to Jared's podcast, the Korner Booth Podcast on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Part of Belly Up Sports and Belly Up Media Group. As per usual, I will see you all in this life, and especially the next one. Cheers, guys. Woo!